Hey guys, Arm&Gun here. Welcome to the show once again. This is the final video for Series 1 on the SIG 550 Sniper. This is going to be the full overview. If you're just tuning in now, go check out my intro and shooting video. I'd recommend checking those out before this one, just to get a general idea of the feel for the gun before we get into a little more detail on it here today. I also did a full field strip and review of the internals so you can see, what makes this thing tick on the inside. So those videos are already live. Go check them out if you want. Otherwise, let's just jump into this with a quick recap, as this is a semi-automatic sniper platform. And I say sniper loosely because sniper is really more of a term for the role of the individual that they fulfill, right? Like their role as a sniper, and whatever rifle they have is therefore the sniper's rifle. But this one literally was set up as being that from the factory, and actually the designation on the receiver itself would be SG 550-1 Sniper. So this one's got a little bit differently marked because this is sent for the Canadian market, and in Canada SIG 550s were banned. So they did some magic, whereas they claimed this was actually based on the 541, which was the design that predated the 550. I'm not sure what internal differences there are there, if any, but for all intents and purposes, this is basically the 550. Or the PE90, the semi-automatic equivalent. So currently this is still legal to own in Canada. I'm very happy about that. Might be moving to a prohibited class soon though, if new legislation is put into force. But at any rate, I should be grandfathered. I should be able to keep my hands on this thing, which is cool because this is a very unique gun. Really excited to have my hands on it right now. So let's discuss this in a little bit more detail. Again, semi-automatic, center fire. And it was chambered in 5.56, which is this guy right here. So, incredibly accurate guns, capable of, well, I think the factory testing for most SIG 550s was they had to basically 3/4 MOA, which is crazy accuracy out of a semi-automatic platform. Like for that, you're basically looking at AR-10s, which is another inherently very accurate platform if built really well. So this one also has a crazy long barrel. Let's just pop out the camera real quick to give you a better idea of the whole thing. So this is huge. Actually, let me grab an SP1 just to give you guys a bit of a size comparison. An SP1 in itself was quite a long gun. So let's just grab. Actually, here I got this one. This was handier in the safe. This is basically an M16A4. Design, 20-inch barrel. So let's line up the butts there. You can see that thing's got a hefty amount of barrel on it. This is a 20-inch plus flash hider. This guy, 25.6 inches. But before we get too far into those specs, because I'll cover those in a little bit here, I just wanted to kind of give you that comparison of the two rifles side by side. So this gun, I guess to jump into the history a little bit, was designed at the request of Swiss police. And they never really did a whole lot more with it due to the price point and one critical feature. I think had this gun been built on the 308 platform, the 751, I think it would have been a serious contender. I don't think the cost would have really gone up that much more. It would have still used the same, stock and grip and everything like that. So those price points would have been already in there, and to do the gun from the 550 to the 751 style, a 308 style, I think then it would have really had a fighting chance, because the problem was at the same time the HK PSG-1 gun was out, and that was again another gun that was targeted for police, and that's in mainland Western Europe. So this gun really was competing against that gun for police service contracts, and the PSG-1 was similar sized gun, similar length, similar weight, to be honest, and it was chambered in 308 versus 556. So that's kind of a a game changer for police services. Like, why go through all this expense? Similar price point as well. These in around $10,000 when it was their list price and originally. So if apples to apples, why wouldn't you just grab one that's in a more lethal cartridge, more sniper, prone cartridge? So that was what a lot of people did, and then as a result, only a few Swiss service companies got these, as well as I guess the Royal Jordanian Guard took them as well. I mean, epic looking guns. They look great, but in my opinion anyways. So again, this gun was very similar to the 550 service rifle that the Swiss military used, and basically used an identical receiver. So let's just jump into ergonomics really quickly, and then we'll discuss the differences between this and the standard 550. So we've got, first of all, magazines. It takes 550 magazines, same as all the other platforms. To jump back in here, this is a 5-rounder, which would be handy if this thing is all set up with a bipod and you're pretty prone. This would be easy to swap out. There are also 20 rounders and 30 rounders. If there's 10 or 15s, I don't know about them. And these mags were available both with and without these little nubs for locking them together. And that's really the purpose of these. Just to click them together like that, and it'll accept them all, in the same fashion. So pretty cool. We'll leave this guy in here. So mags, it takes mags like that. It's got a similar flapper lock style to like an AK. It's a side charging upper, similar to an AK. Check out my internal view. Like this gun, the operating system is very, very much like an AK. So there's, we're clear, and that's how the action works. It does have a last round bolt hold open, which is really nice. The ergs, you can see there's ambi safety, also really nice, and your bolt catch and release. So this you just push this up and it drops the action. If the mag is not present, you can simply pull back and let down as well. That's about it for ergs. Folding stock, which is nice. All of the recoil system is contained around the piston assembly, so there's nothing back here in terms of recoil buffer. So that's allows you to have that nice side folding stock. Let's do a quick trigger pull, because the trigger on this thing is phenomenal. Very different trigger from the standard PE90s or the SG 550s. Again, semi-automatic only. And let's just experience this here. Just unbelievable, unbelievably light. And I guess let's see the reset as well. So a little bit of a reset, but it just breaks so lightly, and oh, it's so nice. So let's now jump into the differences with the gun between this and a standard 550. This would be here's my 553. So this is going to be essentially the same receiver. Like these are definitely the same receivers for Canada. It should be identical to a PE90, and basically you could swap these uppers and lowers interchangeably. Basically you could swap all the components between these two receivers. Longer barrel, longer gas system, everything like that would just be plug and play. So get that guy out of the way. Toss a mag back in this guy, and let's jump through it now. So all the differences. So the buttstock here is adjustable for length of pull, for cheek rise, a lot of different options here. They're very finely threaded, so you've got very incremental changes. To quote Ian, Forgotten Weapons, it's adjustable in about 37 ways. And actually a quick shout out and thank you to Ian, Forgotten Weapons. He just put a video out on this gun last week, and he had a lot of good information in there. I watched it and I learned a few things. So a couple things I'm mentioning here are directly taken from his video as well. If you want to learn more or just see him talk about this gun, go check out his video as well. The main reason I would recommend jumping to his channel though is his gun is a little bit different. Mine is a bit newer, and it's got the new flat top model, the flat top upper. His had an original different style upper where the mount was kind of integrated with it. It had a really cool optics mount on it, included with it as well. And he had some good information about that. Otherwise, the guns should be very, very similar. I suppose he had a different handguard on there as well. He had the factory handguard, but his factory handguard had the older style bipod, which I actually greatly prefer. This one is just you pull it out, and it's got a bit of pivot there, but ultimately His style had a Parker Hale style bipod, which I definitely prefer. Way more adjustable, looks better. This is a nice tight clean look, but I personally prefer the Parker Hale style. And if I could grab one of those, I would do so. For me, I've got a B&T rail on here, and which I think looks gorgeous. It also doesn't work well for this gun though, because this gun is missing the bayonet lug, which the B&T rails lock into. So because of that, I could actually, when we get up to the gas block, I'll show that more. Unfortunately for me, that means it's putting a lot of stress on basically the barrel attached to the receiver, which causes pretty good POI shift, point of impact shift, when you're using a bipod, which I was in my shooting video initially, and was just throwing my shots really off and not consistent at all. So while this looks great right now, it's not functional, and I do plan on installing this handguard back before revisiting and doing another shooting video, kind of long range accuracy, that type of thing. So anyways, definitely a tangent there, but the stock, again, the side folds, this little clip right here attaches into this little nub on the rail, allowing you to lock it in place like such. I'm not sure why they included it on both sides. I'm not really aware of any guns that were set up in the opposite configuration, so I'm not really sure why that little nub is there, but nonetheless. Okay, moving forward, the trigger mechanism, you've got a monopod in the base, which you can thread out. You've got this adjustable palm shelf for height and pitch, or whatever angle you want for it. And it's just a nice textured grip, though I do find it's quite uncomfortable inside here. There is a notch cut out in there, and I find it very uncomfortable to have my hand up in there. It'd be really nice if there would have put a little rubber insert, or if they would have just finished that, but I can see there is a screw. It's just basically an access for a screw for the trigger mechanism, so obviously they did it for functional reasons. The trigger itself, you can see it's definitely different from the factory. But it's got this massive trigger shoe on it, which just gives you a larger surface area, you give you a lighter trigger pull, then a little more control over it. A little interesting little plunger system in the back there. When it breaks, it just breaks like glass. Basically, that this functions like an over travel stop too, and just gives you a little bit of resistance there when that clicks in, and then boom. So I'm not sure, my trigger has always been like this. I know a lot of these triggers are tunable. This one I'm assuming was just tuned at factory to be amazing, and that's what we have. Moving forward, we have actually still at the trigger well. This is still, in keeping with all the 550 designs, a winter folding trigger guard. You can fold it either way. Quite neat. So up top here, I'll pop this out. Very smooth action, as all these Swiss 550 designs are. These little rubber lips here, that's meant as a protector for basically a dust cover for the action. That way you can't have dust creeping in behind the bolt and seizing something up, because the bolt would be not present back there. It's all up in here. So just keeps dirt out while cycling. Kind of an interesting way of doing that. And the optic. Okay, so this optic I chose it for this gun. It's probably the most appropriate optic I had, given what normally would have been issued with it. Kind of true, kind of not true. It's a Heinsolt optic, so that's why I went with it. These typically were outfitted with Heinsolts, though this is a 6-24 by 72 millimeter bell, which is ridiculous, but it's cool. And they typically are outfitted, I think, with like a more of a static 10 power or a 1.5 to 6 power or something like that. So, but it works, looks cool, and I think it's fitting with a 25.6 inch barrel, which this thing is. The bull barrel as well. It's all 3/4 inch profile. You basically, it was designed with that length, just basically maximize the velocity you're getting out of the 5.56 cartridge. This should be solid to 800 yards. I mean, I think maybe that's pushing it for 223. Definitely 600, maybe a bit more. So at that range, 24 power is still excessive, but for what this is designed for, I think 24 power is you're trying to make a very precise shot. If you're using this for a police service rifle, I think you could make a case for that optic. Anyways, moving forward, again, this B&T rail, which is really nice. There are pick sections you can add in here, though I've got them removed because I don't personally need them, and I just wanted to take a little more weight off this already very heavy gun. Details on weight and stuff like that I'm going to throw in the description below, so those will be there for you if you want to just know more specifics on like total length, weight, things like that. Sometimes a little bit slow to add those things, but I do circle back and add them over time. So just as a reference guide, that'll be down there for you in the description. Really cool. I just got an AccuTac bipod on here. I just thought it looked awesome on this B&T rail. Again, I didn't end up using it, but they are very, very functional bipods. Pull them out, the little flapper lock jumps in, different type of feet. I should have some different type of feet coming for it too. These are just the rubber tipped ones, but there's also spiked feet, claw feet, and sled feet. So lots of options there. I wanted to bring you guys back to this gas block here, so you can see the problems I'm having with this rail. So there's a nub in here, right? And that's meant to go into a corresponding bayonet lug, and that way it's supported here, because this rail actually has quite a bit of flex in there, and that flex is all going to be pulling down, you know, at the connection point here at the front of the receiver. So that's really bad. You can see here on my 553 that has a bayonet lug, even though it really doesn't need it. I guess I figured that this didn't obviously need a bayonet lug either, but regardless, it's not there, and that gives me a lot of problems with point of impact shift, where at least with the factory bipod, this one is going to suck into this inside this the gas block, and it's going to give it some more stability there. So interesting. I'm just not able to make use of that myself. So this gas block, also another difference, there's this dovetail inserted in here, which is removable, but that's where, you know, you would have your front sight or something like that. So not present. And you got your adjustable gas for adverse and regular. And then again, just this huge barrel, which is just plain finish on the end, no threading. No threading. So that's the SIG 50 Sniper, 550 Sniper. I guess I got a couple things when I got it in the box here. Let's pop the camera out once again. This was the case it came with. Swiss Arms. Oh, actually, it's upside down there. Swiss Arms. Just a nice foam padded case inside. We've got ourselves with that a cleaning kit. More extensive cleaning kit than usual. And sling. And then one other really cool item that came in this box. Actually, this box contained two items. I'm going to zoom in here again. The first was a stripper clip feeder. So this just goes in the back of the mag, like so, and then you could feed and refill your mags from stripper clips, just to speed the process up a little bit. So that's that. And this guy here is actually a Mirage band. So this guy hooked around the optic and into the front of the gun around this little dovetail mount. I believe that's actually what that's for. And then that stretches this piece of fabric all the way down the top of the rail, and that's to prevent from heat mirage over time. So pretty cool. Haven't seen that on very many guns, but nonetheless, a really cool little option. And I'm just going to close out here by bringing in a bonus gun, as I always do. So this gun was the 223 kind of police sniper rifle at the time. It competed against the PSG-1. I unfortunately don't have access to a PSG-1 at this point in time, but I have the modern counterpart, which is the HK G28. So again, semi-automatic only platform. This one is actually factory correct, and it is the actual military gun, police gun, with the Schmidt & Bender made for HK optic. Love this gun. It's really cool. If you want to know more about this gun, I've got a full video series on this as well, including shooting, disassembly, all that good stuff. So definitely check back in my feature weeks. A couple weeks back was this guy, along with some other really cool stuff as well. And yeah, actually, you know what my bonus gun should have been? I'll pull it out here too. It should have been this guy, to be honest. The new SIG. Well, this is also a Swiss gun now. This is the APC 308. This is just extra bonus for all you guys that stuck through to the end of my video here. Is pulling all these guys. So very nice gun. This is the new B&T 308. It's just, this is a beautiful gun. I also have a full video series on this as well. If you want to learn more, go check back. And that's about it, guys. I'm just gonna really quickly prove clear my original A4 here, as I forgot to when I pulled that one out of the safe. And then this guy here as well. And just unbelievably buttery smooth action on this HK. I absolutely love it. That's all I got for you guys. Thanks a ton. Peace out.